You're listening to Matt King.
So you want to start a successful drone business. I've started companies. Some of them have worked. Some of them were just a fad and they went away in a couple of years. But how do we build a successful and lasting drone business? I was in Las Vegas 2 years ago, and I saw all these drone companies. And I went to the same conference last year, and these people just vanished. These companies went away. And people were shocked. They said, "Man, I'm surprised you're still in business." I said, first of all, what is that supposed to mean? That is the most insulting thing ever for you to say, "Oh, I'm surprised your company's still around." But anyway, these are my tips. I've got 6 tips for you. 6 tips on how to start a successful drone business. If you follow these 6 steps, you will be profitable, your business will stay around, and you will make money for yourself. Number 1, do not sell drones. That should not be your core business model. You will fail in this industry if you try to sell drones. Now, why in the world do I say that? I say that because the margins are so razor thin on these. Everyone is competing. These drone companies have what's called a minimum price value, where they require every retailer to not drop below a certain price. So you really can't beat their prices unless you're selling refurbished models and then they break and things like that. So just don't sell drones, because what do we do when we want to buy a drone? We don't go in a store. We go online and we shop it out. There was a company that was the first ever drone store, and they were like, "We're the first ever drone store." And they opened like 8 locations, and I think they're down to 1. They just are going on the wayside because everyone is going online to buy products. Number 2, create a niche. And you want to make sure that this niche can somewhat be an emotional buy. When you buy a drone, that is not an emotional purchase, because you're looking at different items on the market. You're looking at Target's price, Walmart's price, Amazon's price, Best Buy's price, and you're going to pick the best price. It's not an emotional buy. One of my companies is called Drone Camp. We teach kids how to fly drones, which in theory sounds like it wouldn't even work because anyone has a drone, but we train tons and tons of students all over the country every year. And in Cincinnati alone, I think we train like 250 kids in one summer. And in Atlanta, we train like 100 kids. We've trained over 1,000 students on how to fly drones. And we charged $310 when we first started for our service, and it was like a day and a half of camp. And what I'm trying to get at here is, when the mom and the dad want to send their kid to camp, more importantly, they want to send their kid to drone camp, they really don't care about the price to a degree. You can't be outrageously expensive, but that's something where, "Oh, I want to send my kid to camp. It's drones. He can fly drones, have a great time. Okay, I'll get rid of him for a couple days. That's fine." And then they do it because it's an emotional purchase, which leads me to my next point. We're not just teaching one student, we're teaching many at the same time. So you have to do your volume quick, okay? I'm not talking about a kid as volume. If you're doing an aerial photography business, you need to line up 5 homes in a day. If you're doing agriculture, you need to do different fields and knock them out fast and produce quickly. When I started my commercial business, I shot commercials for companies, and my policy was I had a 24-hour turnaround time. So by the time I shot your footage for you, you had a commercial the next day. With our kids, we see 20 kids in a session, so we see a lot of kids. I think our max capacity is like 80 kids a week in some of our states. So this is something where fast volume, you need to make sure that you are having a lot of it, whether it be services, whether it be students. This is the same way that colleges work. And also, we want to make sure that we can have repeat customers in this business, which is my 4th tip. You got to have repeat business. So we started having these students come to drone camp, and then we started selling apparel. Or we had Drone Camp 2.0. This is kind of hard when you do real estate because once you sell a home, the home is sold. But we had a creative way of doing this, and once we sold the home, we figured out who the homeowner was, and we said, hey, look, you already got great footage of this. Let us drone it during the winter. Let us drone it during the spring, during the fall, and we'll do the same exact flight, and we'll make a seamless transition between the seasons. That is an example of a repeat customer in this business of drone technology and electronic aviation. It's awesome. Number 5, you have to be honest. You have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself, with your clients, with your finances. Time is money in this business. People can read right through you. I had a friend who charged aerial services per acre. Why does that even matter when you're filming from the sky? And it was a way for him to charge more, and the person just saw right through that. I charge per job or per day. I don't do acres, I don't do times, I don't do hourly rates. It's just per job. And my final tip is you have to be willing to do things for free. I started that way. I did things for real estate, for schools. I did runs. I did events. I had my license, my 107 license, which is a license you need to fly commercially for drones. I had my insurance. I had a drone. And my other kind of carrot point that I want to add is you need to be smart with your finances, which is what one of my tips were. You need to be honest with your finances. That means do not justify buying a $2,000 drone to start off, because the difference really in price is between a 1080p camera or a 4K camera. And there's not that big of a difference right now in photos if you're doing real estate. So you have to be smart. Don't justify a purchase. If you have to justify a purchase with other people and you really have to think about it, it's probably not going to be a great purchase. So here we go. We're going to recap. Number 1, do not sell drones. Number 2, create a niche. Number 3, you got to do a lot of volume in this business, which means eventually you want to have repeat customers. You have to be honest. You have to be honest with your finances, with your clients, with yourself. And finally, you have to be willing to work for free.